Drift roses are in the family of the knockout rose. I know you guys know what a knockout rose is. It's the same family. You're sick of seeing knockout roses, I know. And so they have created a carpet rose called a drift rose. It's short. And it comes in a lot of different colors, but the nice thing is it maxes out at like 2 feet tall, so it doesn't take over your life. And so what we did was we put one color drift rose around the middle container, and then we put a separate color, just choose one color, and then put it around the 2 other. So again, you're symmetrical and you're matching with your plant material, so it's not getting too fussy, but we changed the color so it makes it look a little more variated and different. And then outside of that, we did some plumago, we did a little really small dwarf loropetalum, which has got that maroonish color, like the color of your shirt leaves on it. That just adds various color and texture to the overall design. And so I think overall it definitely made her wall, her boring side wall of her house a lot more interesting and a lot easier to maintain.
Butterfly bush too.
Oh yeah, butterfly bush too.
Okay, well I have an asphalt driveway,
Yes.
and they told me, the asphalt people, told me I couldn't do the quickcrete or the concrete with it. So I did do a little area on my own, but of course they backed into it, people driving and cracked it up.
What do you mean you can't do it with it?
He said that they would not adhere to one another, stick.
Oh, I think that's probably true.
So I was going to ask you about that.
Asphalt is cheaper. I mean, this is a general. Asphalt is cheaper, but you guys will notice they make roadways with it because it instantly you can drive on it. Okay, that's why they use it. Concrete is nice when you need something to be. It's stronger. It's much stronger. Concrete, you'll notice, it's almost like having dough for if you've ever made bread. You can push it and push it and push it. It'll keep squishing out and squishing out and squishing out. That's what asphalt does. So the more you drive on it, the more it continues to spread. And that's, a lot of times for residential applications, it's less expensive, but you're gonna have to reapply it. It's gonna crack and it's gonna break. And then it's not gonna give you that nice edge that you want. When when you're at your house and you want everything to look crisp and clean, you want that grass to come up to an edge and so you can just edge, or the yard guy can edge it. And asphalt will never be that way. You always are gonna have to take a weed whacker on it. The grass is always gonna be getting uneven. So if you're truly worried about what it's going to look like, suck it up and spend the extra money. Or you can always do the alternative, which I'm going to tell you this, but you shouldn't do it. You could, in theory, you could have them build a ribbon of 6 inches of concrete on either side and have them pour asphalt in between, so that it basically holds that asphalt in. But the labor that it takes to build 2 ribbons to pour, you may as well just pour the whole, because it's not the concrete that costs so much. That's not the I mean, it is expensive, but that's not the pricey part. The pricey part is the labor that it takes to lay that form for the concrete to be poured into.
Jen, did she put rebar in her wall? Did they put rebar in her wall?
Yes. It all depends on that look that you're going for, and especially in the front of people's houses, they get real picky about. Like if you're out in the country, I think it kind of is part of the essence of the design. Do you know what I mean? It all kind of, it's nice that way, but then you got your like stone retaining wall, and you've got your landscape all perfect, and then your asphalt squishing out.
Oh yeah, well we don't have all of that.
It all just depends on what look. Or maybe do you not ever use a sky pencil yopon? What?
What kind of pine did you say?
I said do not use a sky pencil yopon.
Oh.
I hate those plants with a burning passion.
Wasn't recommended those, and
Half of it'll be dead by next year.
that's what I thought. I'm seeing them down here.
I mean, they were bred for the purpose of putting in a container and having some height on them, but half the plant will die and you'll waste your money. Don't do it.
What would you recommend?
How big is the container?
I haven't bought it yet.
Well,
Just to add some height on the deck, and
yeah, I love a juniper. There's tons of junipers that are available that are evergreen, and it'll give you that height.
they do well for how long?
Junipers, they're forever. They'll be fine. Well, it depends on, I mean, you might have to keep potting it up. It depends on, there's a lot of junipers that'll get gigantic. It's like a Christmas tree, they'll just keep getting bigger. But I'm trying to think of what else that's a tree. I mean, there's not gonna be a lot of trees. I guess you could do a tree.
Blueberries, I don't know. No, they were snow.
What about?
Now, there's a Japanese blueberry.
What about a Japanese maple?
Now, Japanese maples, yes, you can get a dwarf, but I mean, that is a tree technically, but I thought you were talking about some height. I mean, there's dwarf Japanese maples that you can put in pots, but in general, the ones that get really big, they need to go in the
You
ground.
can do the fruit trees that are
Yeah, you could do like you could do a Myers lemon, but they grow so slow. Meyer lemon, a kumquat, you know, a
It's not just a
satsuma.
long vacation for a week or so that you want to work.
Girl, what? I mean, we just a few requirements. Yeah, so another thing that I would recommend you guys do too, I don't know how many of you guys shop on Amazon, which I do exclusively, so I don't have to leave the house, but they have drip systems available on Amazon. It's a whole kit, and I will send it to Sheila so she can spread it to all of you guys if you want. It is a timer that you put onto your hose. It's got a timer on it. It's got the hose that you connect to that timer, and then it's got little spikes, and you put them in all of your little container plants all over so that it comes on. You never have to water a thing. If you're one of those crazy people, no, I shouldn't say crazy. That loves to stand out there and water things every day. There's therapy, garden is therapy, I know. Then you can turn it off sometimes, you know, that's fine. Or just have it water every third day, or just have it on when you go on vacation. But having an irrigation drip system that you don't have to ask somebody to come over and water your plants while you're gone, it's just your plants will survive. It's protecting your investment, really. And it's cheap, it's like $50 for the whole system. If you have a wood frame house, sometimes if it is untreated mulch, the termite company will not bond your house. So pine straw is usually a good option. A lot of people don't like pine straw, but it's termite friendly. And yes, mulch is there to keep the weeds out. It's there to keep the moisture in. And so, yes, I do recommend mulch.
Mostly these cypress.
Cypress works, yes, because it's termite friendly. I mean, it's
The other way around.
it's not going to attract termites. Yes, they don't like it. I think that you have to start with what you like. I think if there's a color that you love, that's where you start. And then there's some people who love all the colors, and you can put a lavender. I mean, you know, you don't want to I would not do a lavender with a red or something like that. If you're doing lavender, stick with a soft yellow and a blue and a white. You know, the cool colors. I should have brought my color wheel. The cool colors of blues and whites and purples, as opposed to the hot colors, is what they're called, of yellow, orange, and red. Those tend to stay on opposite sides. But I think you have to consider what color your house is. If it's brick and you've got kind of my mom has kind of an orangey color brick, a terracotta color brick, and if you put orange next to it, it really makes the house look orange and it really makes the plant look orange. So I think it all just depends on your particular circumstance and what you like. Don't put it, you know, if you hate a plant at the store, do not put it at your house. You'll never like it.
You'll look good.
Asian jasmine, don't do it. Do not do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just trust me, don't do it. I love monkey grass. I think that it stays. You can cut it with a lawnmower.
Just all over everywhere?
Yep.
Really?
I highly recommend if you've got a shady situation or a drainage situation like you're talking about, and you want something to cover it, Asian jasmine will take over your life. I know it seems good in the short term, but just don't do it. Monkey grass will establish, it will spread some. You're going to have to, I mean, it's going to be expensive to start with, as many plugs as you're going to have to do probably to cover your area, but think of all the bags of mulch you're buying and are floating away. And then once you baby it and it gets established, you can cut it with a lawnmower, and it looks you won't be able to tell the difference. It looks just like grass. School was very like, how do you feel about the, you know, like, so, because they wanted you to really get into the conceptual, and what that means is there's a guy in my class who they had several guys who were coming back to college. They were probably in their 30s. they had the hardest time out of any of us because they were living in the real world. They had kids, they had, you know, real lives, and one of the guys had a lawn, both guys actually had lawn businesses. So they knew what worked, right? So when they would design a project, the teacher would always say, you got to get out of that, like, what you know to be true. Thank God I didn't know what I was doing, so I was just like, ah, and they were like, this is so great. But when so it was very conceptual. I've always loved residential though. You know, when I got out of school, the guy I worked for did college campuses, university, you know, all that stuff, military bases, very large site planning, commercial type stuff, and I just have no interest at all in that. So it's always been, every project they handed me in college, I wanted to figure out how to make it like a patio or a courtyard or something, because I think that those spaces are small enough they mean something to people. And I know that large campuses, South is doing a great job with it in creating, and LSU is great too, all the beautiful oak trees. It creates a feeling when you're on those campuses and they're designed correctly. So there's definitely something there, but I'm very impatient and I like the instant gratification of having a patio that I can do in a week or two. And I like the instant gratification it gives my clients too. That when you get going with a landscape plan, what's so great and different about doing an interior project is that with an interior project, you do all that planning, and then it takes another year to build the house, or it takes another year for them to get in there and build all the things. In most cases, unless it is a gigantic project, you will plan everything, and then they will say, okay, you got the job, sign the contract, you know, put your down payment, whatever it is, and then they'll start and they'll be done. You'll have a new lawn. You'll go to work one morning and they've gotten there, pulled up their trailer with the grass, and when you get home, you've got a new lawn. So it's so quick. So that's what I like about it. I do consultation, everything from consulting all the way to full implementation of land, so fully drawn, sketched out in AutoCAD, you know, large plans that we hand to contractors for bid, and then do implementation and observation of construction. And you know, a lot of observation of construction, which again, I've had plenty of clients ask me, is when I draw a plan, there is no way on earth that it ever will look exactly the same as I drew it as when the contractor pulls it out and tries to work it out. So every time, every job, I should be out there when he pulls all the plants, or she pulls all the plants off the truck and arranges them. I go out there and move them and switch them around, because there's inevitably going to be 6 inches more on that in the actual space than there was on the drawing, or he couldn't get some plant, so we switched it out for another plant. So having that that little bit of extra, because I mean, I started including that in my full plans because forever people did not want to pay extra for it, and I would go out and I'd be like, they planted it exactly where it was in the plan, and they didn't never. That's what contractors did. So.
I watch your little shows on Facebook, and it's always this pretty furniture with pillows and cushions. Well, I do that on my porch, and they always get mildewy and
Yes.
messy, and
Yes, we live in the harshest conditions as far as that stuff's concerned. I love a product called Rust-Oleum Never Wet is what it's called, and I spray that on everything outside. Now, you can't leave it out there for 5 months and expect for it to not get wet. I mean, you know, but that's a great product. You can get it from Home Depot or Lowe's. It's in the paint section, and it comes in a spray bottle just like you would spray like Febreze. Not the aerosol can, the pump one. Now, another tip that I always talk about on my show as well is if you buy out, yes, umbrella's good. If you want it to be like a nylon-y fabric, that's usually an outdoor fabric, but if you buy pillows, make sure they have a zipper enclosure. I love a zipper enclosure because then you can take it inside and wash it. If it doesn't have a zipper enclosure, a lot of outdoor pillows have not yet started being made. My ultimate dream in life one day would be to be able to create my own outdoor furniture, because I think it's pitiful how many lack of options we have right now. Functionality as far as a zipper on an outdoor you know, pillow so that we can wash them would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? But that doesn't happen in most cases. So if you can find a pillow that's a zipper enclosure, then you can wash it. Another thing too is that they have all of the covers that you can put over all your furniture. There's outdoor furniture covers that exist. Again, protecting your investment. Ultimately, if I had my choice, we would all have roof lines over all of our patio furniture. Or you can always buy furniture that doesn't have cushions involved. It's got, you know, it's iron, or it's the webbed plastic mesh. So there's a lot there. there are options out there. I love Target online. They have tons of more availability online than they do in store. I always do Wayfair, Hay Needle, Amazon. There's tons of options for outdoor furniture. Not as many as I'd like, but there are options. Don't forget that if you have a drainage situation already that's bad, adding concrete to it makes it way worse. Because concrete is not permeable. Permeable means that it can soak in water. So when you've got a driveway and a drop of water hits it, it just rolls off. Concrete is absorbent, but you know, I'm not talking about one drop of water. I'm talking about the deluges that we get, as opposed to grass, where it will soak in before it runs off. Even if it's on a hill, it will soak into the grass a lot easier and then roll downhill. So the more concrete that you add to the situation, if you've already got a bad drainage situation where you're pulling water or you know, stuff is happening that you can't figure out how to get rid of the water, or you're rushing water, adding concrete to it makes it worse. So don't let them pour more concrete if you guys are already having drainage issues. That one I can tell you right now. You don't have to.
That's free.
Yeah, that's free. Go tell them that. And I think that what I learned in school too, or maybe it's just my personality, is that I've learned to listen to my clients, and I don't have one style that I stick with. If you want modern, we'll do modern. If you want, because to me, that's the style. That's your style. If you're traditional, if you're modern, if you're transitional, that's your style. The design, good design, does not change. Good design should be how things function, and then the style is just what you inject into it with paint colors and the furniture and the pillows, you know? So to me, I mean, if you were to say there was a difference, if you wanted to do transitional and she wanted to do modern, it would not matter, because I would still say that you need 2 club chairs here and a sofa here, because you're gonna walk around it and you need a place for your fire pit over there. What the fire pit looks like and what the chairs look like is your style.